Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're thrilled to have you with us on the TKD Coach SED podcast, the podcast all about Taekwondo from Lemgo.
Yeah, great to be diving in again.
Today, we're embarking on a really captivating exploration, the history of Taekwondo.
A big topic, a really big one.
It is. And this isn't just, a list of dates and names. It's a profound story. It's about cultural identity, resilience, amazing innovation, and how this martial art, forged in Korea, really came to captivate the entire world. So get ready, because we're going to uncover some surprising facts, some crucial insights as we journey through its complex past.
And that's exactly what we try to do here on the Deep Dive, isn't it? We meticulously sift through, articles, research, our own notes to pull out those really critical nuggets of knowledge and insight. The goal really is to ensure you emerge truly well-informed about Taekwondo's layered history and to do it quickly and effectively.
Right. And for this particular deep dive, where did the information come from?
Okay, so the research for this was conducted online, and importantly, it was meticulously cross-referenced using numerous press reports.
Okay, so a solid base.
Yeah, trying to get a comprehensive and, balanced perspective on Taekwondo's rich and, let's be honest, sometimes fiercely debated lineage.
The origins of Taekwondo and the roots in karate-contested history.
All right, let's start at the beginning. The name itself. Taekwondo. Most of us probably know it breaks down, right? Tae, foot.
Foot, yeah.
Kwon, fist or hand.
Fist, hand, exactly.
And do, meaning the way. So the way of the foot and fist. It's a beautiful description, actually.
It is.
But for a deep dive like this, let's think about what that actually meant, in the context of its creation back in the mid-20th century. Was it just a literal translation, or was it more a deliberate declaration, a statement of intent for this new art?
That's a great point, and that's precisely where the nuance comes in. The literal translation is clear, yes, but that choice of do the way, that was a powerful philosophical statement, especially, for an art emerging from a nation, just finding its feet after colonialism.
Yeah.
It consciously elevated it. It wasn't just a fighting style anymore.
Right.
It became a path for personal development, deeply rooted in, Korean cultural values. It was about self-mastery, discipline, building a stronger national spirit, something distinct perhaps from the more direct combat focus of its immediate predecessors.
So, in practice, what does Taekwondo look like? What are its core characteristics?
Well, fundamentally, it's characterized by its incredibly dynamic striking techniques. There's a real emphasis on high, fast kicks, often spinning kicks.
Those iconic spinning kicks.
Yeah, exactly. Powerful hand strikes, effective blocks, too.
Yeah.
It's known for its rapid footwork, fluid, almost dance-like movements in some of the forms, the pumse and tales. But beyond just the athleticism, which is impressive, it deeply incorporates these intricate forms, rigorous sparring, practical self-defense. And crucially, it places immense importance on discipline, respect, and developing mental fortitude alongside physical skills.
And historically, its military connection was key, wasn't it?
Absolutely foundational. It was a vital part of hand-to-hand combat training for soldiers. Most notably, perhaps, practiced by the Republic of Korea's revered Tiger Division during the Vietnam War.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that unit's martial prowess earned them a really formidable reputation internationally. So that military route is undeniable.
Okay, now here's where the history gets. Well, like you said, layered and debated. Some claims, often from more traditional lineages, suggest Taekwondo's origins go back thousands of years.
You hear that a lot.
Yeah, figures like 2,000, even 4,000 years. Yet modern digital information, academic historical analysis, it tends to point to the art we know today, the codified system, as largely originating much more recently, say between the 1940s and 1960s.
Much shorter timeline.
Exactly. So how do we reconcile these two ideas? Claims of ancient roots versus the idea that modern Taekwondo is, in its unified form, a relatively young art?
That's an excellent question. And honestly, it's a source of ongoing discussion, even debate, within the Taekwondo community itself. The truth is, it's nuanced. It's multifaceted.
Okay.
There is tangible, verifiable evidence of ancient martial arts in Korea. That part isn't really disputed. For instance, you have mural paintings found in the Koguryo royal tombs.
Right, I've heard about those.
Dating from maybe the 3rd to 427 AD. Some even suggest as early as the 1st century. And these clearly depict figures practicing what certainly look like martial arts techniques.
What kind of techniques?
Well, they illustrate early forms, known by names like Baki, Kwanbak, Taisu, and Subak. These terms referred to various empty-handed fighting systems that existed back then.
Subak, that name comes up a lot.
It does. Yeah. And furthermore, the Silla Dynasty, which was around from 57 BC to 668 AD, is widely believed to have adopted and learned Subak from the Goguryeo armies.
Why? What was the context?
It seems it was a strategic move. Silla was seeking aid against persistent Japanese pirate incursions at the time, so learning these effective fighting techniques was crucial.
Makes sense.
And the practice of Subak then became an integral part of the Hwarang training.
The Hwarang, weren't they like elite warriors?
Elite warriors, yes, but also more than that, an elite military, educational, and social organization for noble youths. And significantly, they were often instructed by Buddhist monks.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, and these monks infused a vital spiritual and philosophical dimension into the martial training that was perhaps less prominent before. It fostered this holistic approach, not just warriors, but well-rounded individuals.
So Subak continued to develop.
Definitely. During the Goguryeo Dynasty, that's 918 to 1392 AD, Subak was systematically developed, formalized for soldiers. They even had annual competitions, and performance in these could actually determine military promotions.
Wow, imagine your career depending on your fighting skills.
Right. And besides Subak, you also have ancient indigenous Korean martial arts like Taekkyon.
Taekkyon, yeah, that's still practiced today, isn't it? Very different look.
Very different, yes. A dynamic combat sport known for its fluid, low kicks, foot sweeps. And also Kwon-bup, which refers to empty-hand fighting techniques, meticulously documented in that famous 4-volume manual, the Miedo Botongji.
Ah, the Miedo Botongji.
Exactly. And many scholars recognize Taekkyon and Kwon-bup as perhaps the only ancient influences widely acknowledged as direct predecessors or contributors to modern Korean martial arts.
Okay, so let's pause here. We have this rich history of Korean martial arts, Subak, Taekkyon, Kwon-bup, but clearly none were actually called Taekwondo. What's the profound insight here? The distinction between these ancient roots and the modern formulation.
That's the crux of it. The profound insight is this. While the name Taekwondo and its unified standardized form as a distinct martial art are undeniably products of the mid-20th century.
Right, the 40s, 50s, 60s.
Exactly. But the lineage of these Korean martial arts traditions like Taekkyon and Subak, they provided foundational elements. They provided a deep cultural context.
So the building blocks were there.
The building blocks, the spirit, the philosophy. Yes. These pre-existing arts, with their emphasis on sophisticated foot and hand techniques, had been cultivating a martial spirit within the Korean people for centuries. So you wouldn't have seen someone doing a modern Taegup form in ancient Silla, no.
Okay.
But the physical principles, the philosophy of disciplined self-cultivation, the cultural readiness for an art like Taekwondo that was definitely present and evolving, it speaks to an enduring martial culture in Korea. A continuity of spirit, even if the names and specific techniques changed over time.
That makes a lot of sense. Now, delving deeper, we have to talk about a really pivotal and, frankly, a painful period in Korean history, the Japanese occupation, 1910 to 1945.
Absolutely crucial.
Yeah, and painful, yeah.
This era profoundly shaped what Taekwondo would eventually become, and it presents this fascinating historical paradox, doesn't it?
It really does. During this brutal annexation, Korea suffered severe cultural suppression under colonial rule. It was systematic.
How did that affect martial arts? Well, traditional Korean martial arts, like Taekkyon and Sirium, that's a traditional form of wrestling, they were essentially banned from public practice.
Banned. Wow.
Forced underground or pushed right to the brink of extinction. And in their place, the Japanese colonial rulers actively introduced and promoted their own martial arts.
Like what?
Jiu-jitsu, kendo, judo, and most significantly for our story, karate.
Karate. Here it comes.
There it comes. Many aspiring Korean martial artists who were desperate to continue training, they studied these Japanese arts, predominantly Shotokan karate.
Where did they study?
Either by traveling to Japan itself, which many did, or by training in regions like Manchuria, where Japanese influence was also very strong. This exposure wasn't just incidental, it was unavoidable, it was deeply influential. It basically created the foundational skill set for an entire generation of Korean martial artists who would later shape Taekwondo.
That historical irony is just striking.
Yeah.
The very art that would come to embody Korean national identity was, by necessity, heavily influenced by the martial arts of the power that was trying to suppress that identity. What's the deep insight we pull from that, from this forced cultural assimilation?
That's precisely the paradox, yeah. And it reveals something powerful about cultural resilience, I think. The forced absorption of foreign martial arts. It wasn't just a dilution of Korean identity, it became a crucible, a forge from which something new, something uniquely potent would eventually emerge.
So it wasn't just copying.
No, not at all. The key insight here is that the Korean founders, once liberation came, they didn't just passively replicate karate. They were fueled by this fervent desire for national self-expression, for reclaiming their identity post-liberation.
Yeah, and they synthesized.
Synthesized, meaning they blended things.
Exactly. They took these disparate Japanese influences, in some cases Chinese influences too, and they consciously began the process of forging something new, something distinctly Korean.
So it wasn't merely karate by another name, as some might simplistically suggest. It was the dynamic genesis of Taekwondo, born from this desperate, innovative need to reclaim and redefine a national identity through martial art. This is a powerful story, really, turning an imposed influence into a source of unique cultural strengths.
And it's important to stress, right, that the founders of those first schools, the Kwans, they mostly trained in karate.
Oh, absolutely. It's crucial to state explicitly, most founders of the original Kwans, those first Taekwondo schools emerging after liberation, had received their primary martial arts training in Japanese karate, predominantly Shotokan.
Right.
Some also had exposure to Chinese kung fu, maybe from travels or military service in Manchuria. And those early styles, they were often called things like Tang Soo-do.
Tang Soo-do, yeah, I still hear that name.
Which translates to way of the China hand, or Kong Soo-do, meaning way of the empty hand. And here's the kicker. These were, in fact, Korean pronunciations of karate-do.
Wow. So directly acknowledging the karate roots in the name itself initially.
Unequivocally, it shows the direct connection, while simultaneously, attempting to assert a Korean identity even then. It's complex.
The emergence of the Kwans and the quest for unification, 1945, 1955.
Okay, so Korea is finally liberated in 1945, a monumental moment. And suddenly, those Korean martial artists who had trained abroad, maybe in secret, maybe under constraints, they start returning home.
A turning point.
This period must have marked a real explosion of martial arts activity, right? Laying the groundwork for what we now call Taekwondo. How did that landscape start to take shape?
Exactly. An explosion is a good word for it. This is the moment when the Kwans emerged.
The Kwans, meaning schools or halls.
Yeah, hall or school. These were the original schools, the martial arts styles developed in South Korea immediately following World War II and the end of Japanese rule. Each Kwan represented a distinct approach, a unique lineage, often a pioneering vision from its founder.
Even though they shared influences, like karate.
Yeah, while they shared common influences, especially Japanese karate, their individual interpretations, their philosophies, they were instrumental in shaping the diverse foundation of modern Taekwondo. We generally identify 5 core original Kwans that were particularly influential right at the start.
Okay, let's break them down. Who were they?
All right, first, let's delve into the Cheongdo Kwan. That translates as School of the Blue Wave.
Blue Wave.
Evocative. It is. Founded in 1944 by Lee Won-kik. So one of the earliest, actually establishing itself even slightly before formal liberation.
Wow. And Lee Won-kik.
A pivotal figure. He studied Shotokan karate directly under the legendary Gichin Funakoshi in Japan.
Funakoshi himself, the father of modern karate.
The man himself. So that direct lineage infused Cheongdo Kwan with strong Shokan principles. But Lee combined that with his own interpretations and this growing desire to incorporate elements of traditional Korean martial arts.
What was Cheongdo Kwan known for?
It quickly gained a reputation for powerful techniques and significantly its innovative emphasis on head-level kicking.
The high kicks.
Exactly. A hallmark that would eventually become synonymous with Taekwondo. Lee Won-kik developed his own unique Tang Soo-do style, which officially adopted the name Taekwondo from 1955.
And he faced some political trouble too, right?
He did, yeah. It shows the tensions of the time. He was briefly imprisoned for refusing to join President Syngman Rhee's political party. Shows the independent spirit some of these Kwan leaders had.
Okay, Kwan number 2.
Next, we explore the Muduk Kwan, or School of Martial Virtue, founded in 1945 by Hwang Ki.
Hwang Ki. Another huge name.
Absolutely. Considered one of the most important and notably scholarly figures in Korean martial arts development, his style was a rich synthesis. It incorporated Shotokan karate, indigenous Korean martial arts, and he even claimed influences from Chinese Kuksul I, having traveled extensively in Manchuria.
So, really diverse background.
Very diverse. He initially called his style Ha-So-Do, then Tang Soo-do, but crucially, in 1960, he renamed it Subak-do.
Subak-do. Why the change?
This was after he famously rediscovered and meticulously studied that ancient Korean text, the Muye Doba Tongji.
Ah, the martial arts manual from the 18th century.
Exactly. That rediscovery wasn't just academic for him, it profoundly shaped his philosophy. He wanted to emphasize a deep connection to indigenous Korean history and virtue, making his art distinct.
And Mudio Kwon became very popular.
Hugely popular. Between 1953 and 1960, it boasted, astonishingly, nearly 75% of all martial arts practitioners in Korea, the largest association by far.
75%. That's incredible dominance.
It really was. Hwarang Ki's teachings emphasized strong individuals building strong communities and nations, a profound philosophical and civic mission behind the martial art.
Okay, number 3.
Then we have the Yunmu Kwon, which eventually transformed into the Jido Kwon, or School of Wisdom,
Okay.
founded by Chun Sang-sup in 1946 as the Yunmu Kwon Kong Sodo-bu. Chun, he also had a strong background, learned both karate, possibly Shotokan under Funakoshi, or maybe Toyama Kunkin, another influential karate master, and judo while studying in Japan.
Judo as well. Interesting mix.
Yeah, that dual expertise gave his school a distinctive edge. Tragically, though, Chun disappeared during the Korean War. A common fate, sadly.
Oh no. So what happened to the school?
His dedicated students, led by Kwai Byung-yoon, courageously reopened it under the new name Jidokwon. And this school quickly became distinguished for its excellent competition results in early Taekwondo tournaments. A real focus on practical application and success.
Right. The 4th original Kwon.
The 4th crucial one is the Changmu Kwon. Its predecessor was the YMCA Kwon Bop-bu, founded in 1946 by Yoon Ba-yen.
Yoon Byung-in. What was his background?
Particularly unique and diverse. He'd learned Chinese Xuanfa, a style very similar to Kung Fu, extensively while in Manchuria, and also Shudokan Karate from Toyama Kantin in Tokyo.
Xuanfang Karate.
Yes. So the early Changmu Kwon style was this fascinating blend, mainly based on Chinese Xuanfa and Shotokan Karate. Gave it a somewhat softer, more internal feel, maybe, compared to some other Kwons.
And what happened to Yoon?
Like Chun Sang-sup, sadly, Yoon Byung-in also disappeared during the Korean War, leaving a void.
Another loss.
Yes. His students, notably Lee Nam-suk and Kim Soon-bae, reopened the school as Changmu Kwon. And Kim Soon-bae, in particular, Grandmaster Kim Soon-bae, played an instrumental role later on in shaping the unified curriculum of modern Taekwondo.
How so?
He developed significant portions of the Kuki-won's Taekwondo textbook and those fundamental Palgwai and Taeguk forms that are so central to WT Taekwondo practice today.
Wow, so a direct link from that Kwon to modern forms.
Very direct link.
Okay, and the 5th original Kwon.
Finally, we arrived at the Song Mukwon, the Pine Martial Arts School. This one holds the distinction of being arguably the oldest of these original Kwons. Founded March 11th, 1944 by Byung-jik Roh.
Older than Changdu Kwon then?
Just slightly, yeah, by its founding date. Roh had also studied Shotokan Karate under Funakoshi. He was actually a contemporary and fellow student of Lee Won-kuk from Chungdo Kwon.
Ah, okay. Small world.
Very small world back then. Song Mukwon quickly became renowned for its extremely strict, hard training, often done in harsh weather conditions, pushing students to their absolute physical and mental limits.
Sounds intense. Training in the freezing Korean winter.
Exactly. Forging not just technique, but immense fortitude. This rigorous approach created an exceptional spirit, and Dang-jik Roh himself was widely considered the highest-ranking Taekwondo black belt in the world until he passed away in 2015, a testament to his lifelong dedication and influence.
Okay, so let's recap. After liberation, we have these 5 distinct schools. Chongdo Kwon, Mudo Kwon, Jido Kwon, from Yunmu Kwon, Changmu Kwon, and Song Mukwon. Each with its own flavor, its own founder, but all sharing these deep, undeniable roots in Japanese karate. What does this tapestry really tell us about Taekwondo's birth? What's the core insight?
The core insight, I think, is that despite their individual styles, unique names, different philosophies, these early Kwons were all basically teaching variations of karate.
Because there wasn't anything else yet.
Pretty much. In that immediate post-liberation period, there were no established, codified Korean forms, no universally recognized Korean martial art system ready to go. So these pioneers naturally relied on karate kata, the forms, as their teaching method, their technical framework.
Okay.
Now, this diverse foundation, while incredibly rich in martial arts knowledge, it also presented a huge challenge. The sheer variety of styles, even if they were all derived from karate, highlighted this pressing need for unification.
Why was unification so important?
Well, imagine this newly liberated nation, right? Still finding its footing, looking to its culture for symbols of unity, of strength. But on the martial arts front, instead of one clear emblem, you had 5 or maybe even more distinct schools. And critically, each was teaching a variation of an art largely borrowed from their recent colonizers.
The Japanese connection, I guess.
Exactly. That fragmented identity created this powerful, deep-seated national aspiration, a desire to forge a single, cohesive, truly Korean martial art, something distinct, something powerful, free from that direct association with the former occupying power.
And that profound desire, that need to unite these styles into a single national Korean art. Something embodying national pride that became a powerful driving force in the mid-1950s.
It really did.
And this is where one figure really steps onto the central stage. His personal journey becomes just inextricably linked with Taekwondo's birth and global spread. We have to talk about General Choi Hong-Hi.
Absolutely. General Choi. His role is undeniable, though also, as we'll see, quite controversial later on. But yes, in this period, he was pivotal.
How did the unification effort start? Were there attempts before Choi?
There were initial, often sort of fragmented attempts, things like the brief Korean Gangsudo Association, and Hong-Hi, remember the Mudu Kwan founder? He had his own independent Korean Gangsudo Association.
Right.
But the most pivotal figure in this quest for a unified Korean martial art, and especially in giving it that new enduring name, was General Choi Hong-Hi.
What is his background again?
Yeah.
Military, right?
Yes, very much so. A man of ambition, vision, military discipline. He was a second lieutenant initially, rose rapidly to become a general in the Republic of Korea Army. And he himself had learned karate in Japan. Achieved a first or maybe second Dan black belt.
So he knew karate well.
He did. And he began teaching his own unarmed combat style to soldiers as early as 1946. He saw its potential not just for self-defense, but for fostering discipline, national spirit within the new Korean military.
What was his ultimate aim?
Ambitious, to develop a new, distinct Korean martial art, one that he believed would actually be superior to karate, both technically and in its meditative philosophical aspects.
Okay. And then came a key moment in 52.
A truly pivotal moment, yes, 1952. President Syngman Rhee, the leader of South Korea then, was watching a martial arts demonstration, and he was deeply impressed by one of Choi's star students, a man named Nam Tae-hee.
What happened?
Rhee, recognizing the potential for military training, for national symbolism, he was so moved, the story goes, that he immediately ordered Gangsudo training. That was one of the terms used then for all soldiers.
Wow. A presidential decree.
Huge opportunity. Choi and Nam seized it. They founded the Military Internal Odo Kwan, or Gym of My Way, in 1953.
Do Kwans. So that's one of the later Kwans we'll talk about.
Exactly. It started as a military Kwan, and it quickly became incredibly influential precisely because every young Korean man, sooner or later, passed through the military and thus through its rigorous training. It gave Choi an unparalleled platform to spread his evolving martial art.
Right. Control the military training, control the art's direction, essentially.
To a large extent, yes. And it was in this atmosphere, in 1955, that General Choi spearheaded this crucial commission. It brought together influential people, representatives from leading Kwans like Chung-do Kwan and his own Odo Kwan, plus key figures from the military, from the government, all tasked with this monumental goal: unify the styles.
And this brings us to that critical moment, the naming. April 11, 1955. General Choi puts forward the name Taekwondo. This wasn't just a casual suggestion, was it? This was loaded with significance.
Oh, absolutely. Far from casual. The name Taekwondo was chosen very deliberately, very strategically.
How so?
To consciously evoke the traditional Taekkyon. Remember Taekkyon?
Yeah, the ancient kicking art.
Right. Even though technically there was a recognized lack of direct historical or technical kinship between Choi's art and Taekkyon. It was a brilliant strategic move. It imbued the new art with this powerful sense of ancient Korean heritage, national legitimacy, and importantly, it distanced it from its immediate Japanese-influenced past.
And it was accepted.
It was accepted, yes. By a broad consensus of leading Korean figures at the time, they recognized its symbolic power.
But not everyone was on board with Choi's vision. You mentioned Hwang-ki earlier.
Exactly. It highlights the persistent internal debates. Hwang-ki, founder of Mudu Kwan, after rediscovering the Muidobo Tongji in 1957, he proposed the name Subakdo in 1960 for his distinct style. He believed that had a more authentic, direct link to Korean history.
Bakdo instead of Taekwondo.
Right. And he also famously kept using the name Tangsu-do for his international efforts. It showed his firm commitment to his own lineage, his own vision, separate from Choi's Taekwondo. This split in naming choices, right there at the beginning, it underscores these deeply personal, nationalistic motivations driving the evolution. It wasn't simple.
Expansion, political intrigue, and the Nine Kwans, 1955-1970s.
Okay, so the name Taekwondo is officially adopted, largely thanks to General Choi, but the story definitely doesn't settle down there. After the Korean War ends in 1953, we see even more rapid expansion, diversification.
Things accelerate again.
And this is where the term the Nine Kwans comes in, right? It refers to those original 5 we just discussed, plus 4 additional major schools that popped up in the immediate post-war period. They quickly cemented their place in this evolving landscape.
That's exactly right. The post-war era in South Korea was this time of intense growth, nation building, and martial arts were seen as a vital part of that. So you get this significant expansion, almost doubling the number of influential schools. These 4 newer Kwans, they further diversified the landscape, though many still had strong connections, lineage ties, back to the original 5.
Okay, so who were these 4 newer Kwans?
All right. First among these newer ones was Hanmu Kwan, founded August 1954 by Lee Kyo-yoon.
Hanmu Kwan.
And its roots.
It emerged as a direct offshoot of the Yunmu Kwan, which, as we said, later became Jido Kwan.
Oh, okay. Connected to Jido Kwan.
Hanmu Kwan played a significant role in the ongoing development and eventually became an integral part of the Kukkiwon World Taekwondo headquarters, solidifying its place within that standardized system later on.
Got it. Next.
Then there's the Odo Kwan, founded in 1955, as we mentioned, by none other than General Choi Hong-Hi himself.
Right, the military Kwan. Exactly. It was technically an influential offshoot of the Cheongdo Kwan, and General Choi also became the honorary head of Cheongdo Kwan around that time.
So he led both, in a way.
This dual leadership was incredibly significant. It further cemented the military importance, the strategic influence of Odo Kwan. General Choi used this platform to intensively train military personnel, ensuring his vision for Taekwondo permeated the armed forces, effectively making it a national system through military service. This gave Taekwondo immense institutional power.
Okay. 2 more newer Kwans.
Yep. The Kangduk Kwan, founded in 1956 by Park Chol-hee and Hong Jung-pyo.
Kangduk Kwan and its lineage.
This one was an offshoot of the Kwan Bapbu, which was the predecessor of the Changmu Kwan.
Ah, okay. Connected to Changmu Kwan. It's like a family tree.
It really is. It illustrates this growing network, these complex lineage connections, masters, senior students starting their own interpretations, their own training methods.
Then the last of the 9.
Finally, we have the Jeongdo Kwan, founded in 1956 by Lee Young-woo.
Jeongdo Kwan, let me guess. Connected to Cheongdo Kwan.
You got it. Another offshoot of Cheongdo Kwan shows the enduring influence, the foundational strength of Lee Won-kook's original school. Jeongdo Kwan was the last of these original 9 Kwans to eventually join and form what became the modern Kukkiwon system, bringing that total number of recognized foundational schools to 9.
So just recapping, original 5, Cheongdo Kwan, Mudo Kwan, Jido Kwan, Changmu Kwan, Songmu Kwan. Newer 4, Hanmu Kwan, Odo Kwan, Kangdo Kwan, Jingdo Kwan. That's the 9 Kwan.
That's the 9 Kwans, yeah, the bedrock.
So almost immediately after the devastating Korean War, you see this huge expansion, nearly doubling the influential schools. General Choi Hong-Hi is right in the thick of it, proposing the name, founding Odo Kwan, leveraging its military power. What's the major insight here? How did Taekwondo grow so incredibly fast in such a short, difficult time?
The major insight, I think, has to be the role of the South Korean military. It acted as this unprecedented, highly effective engine for Taekwondo's rapid growth and, importantly, its standardization.
Because of mandatory service.
Exactly. Military service was mandatory for all young Korean men. And martial arts training, specifically Choi's evolving Taekwondo via Odo Kwan, became a compulsory part of soldier training. So the art was just disseminated across an entire generation, automatically.
Wow. Built-in distribution system.
Pretty much. It gave it immense institutional power. A built-in infrastructure for widespread adoption, for enforcing unified techniques. It was symbiotic, really. Taekwondo offered discipline, self-defense skills, crucial for national security.
And the military gave Taekwondo a massive platform.
An unparalleled platform to flourish and standardize. However, this rapid growth also inevitably led to increased complexity, diverse interpretations, and, as we're about to see, significant political shifts and major disagreements over leadership and the ultimate direction of the art.
Right, which brings us to the formal attempts at unification, like the KTA.
Exactly. The Korea Taekwondo Association, KTA. Formed around 1959, officially registered in 1961. Its critical objective was to facilitate unification, standardize Taekwondo across the nation. And General Choi Hong-Hi, given his central role, his military clout, he became its first president in 1959.
Sounds like unification was finally happening then.
Well, yes and no. The quest for unification wasn't smooth. It wasn't linear. It was actually fraught with challenges. And General Choi's leadership, his vision, it was far from universally accepted.
So despite the KTA being formed, unification wasn't a done deal. It sounds like Choi's influence wasn't absolute, and politics kept interfering, making the journey really turbulent.
Turbulent is the right word. The 1960s were without doubt politically charged and chaotic for Taekwondo. General Choi's initial power base within the KTA took a major hit with the Student Revolution of April 1960.
The revolution that overthrew President Rhee.
That's the one. In that political vacuum, Hwang-Ki, remember, Moo-Duk Kwan founder, always independent-minded, he capitalized. He registered his own Korean Subak-Do association.
Still pushing for Subak-Do.
Still pushing for it, and consciously keeping it separate from the KTA. This directly hindered the official registration of Taekwondo as a unified national entity under Choi's vision. It was a direct challenge to Choi's authority, a powerful assertion of an alternative martial arts identity.
Then came another political upheaval.
Yes, General Park Chung-hee's military coup in 1961 ushered in an authoritarian era.
How did that affect Taekwondo?
Well, Park's government issued a decree for mandatory registration of all martial arts organizations. This could have been Choi's moment to finally cement Taekwondo, but personal and political differences between him and General Park led to Choi being effectively sidelined.
Sidelined? How?
He was sent to Malaysia as the Korean ambassador. So for the next 4 years, Taekwondo development in Korea continued, but without his direct guiding presence.
Wow. So the main proponent of the name Taekwondo was out of the country.
Exactly. And during this interim, in September 1961, the Korean Taekwondo Association, KTA, was founded. Note the name change again, Taekwondo.
Yes, pseudo. Why that name?
It was seen as a compromise, a middle ground between Dangsudo, Subak-Do, and Choi's Taekwondo. This Taekwondo Association worked on unified rules, sent demonstration teams abroad, promoting this new, unified Korean martial art internationally.
But then Choi came back.
He returned to Korea in 1965. And leveraging his remaining influence, his political skills, he was swiftly re-elected as KTA president.
And what was his first move?
Immediately made a decisive move, successfully changed the name back to Taekwondo, reportedly by a single critical vote.
By one vote. Wow.
Shows how contested it still was. This was a powerful signal of his determination to establish his definitive vision. He then heavily pushed for internationalization, personally leading demo tours across continents. He was key in bringing Taekwondo to places like Germany, which led to the German Taekwondo Association forming in '67.
But the internal strife didn't end.
Not at all. This period was marked by significant internal conflict. Hwang-Ki's massive Moo-Duk Kwan, for instance, faced deep divisions over whether to align with Choi's KTA. Hwang-Ki himself steadfastly chose to remain independent. He later established various Tangsu-Do associations abroad to preserve his distinct lineage and philosophy. He never joined the Taekwondo mainstream under Choi or the later WT.
It's clear this intense internal conflicts, the political maneuvering, it wasn't just about techniques, was it? It was about ideology, about the soul and direction of Taekwondo.
Absolutely.
And this ultimately created that major fork in the road, didn't it? Leading to the splintering into the distinct international federations we know today.
That's an excellent way to put it. Imagine a powerful river, maybe unified for a short stretch. Then it hits this huge insurmountable rock and splits into two mighty diverging streams. That's pretty much what happened.
What were the pressure points?
Ideological differences, traditional martial art versus sport. Personality clashes, certainly. And fundamentally a struggle for power. Who would control what Taekwondo would become? Would it be a comprehensive traditional martial art under Choi's singular vision? Or a globally recognized sport, steered more by the government? The disagreements between General Choi as KTA president and other Kwan leaders finally reached a breaking point.
Resulting in
Choi's forced resignation from the KTA presidency about a year after his return. But in exchange, he was apparently given the assurance, or maybe the permission, to found his own international organization.
So that's the origin of the ITF.
Directly. This led straight to the formation of the International Taekwondo Federation, ITF, on March 22, 1966, in Seoul. General Choi Hong-Hi became its first president, and he would remain as only president until his death in 2002.
Who were the founding members?
A diverse group, showing Choi's rapid global outreach, Arab nations, West Germany, Italy, Korea. Though that relationship would become very complicated. Malaysia, Singapore, Turkey, the USA, Vietnam.
And the ITF style, what defined it?
The ITF developed its own specific forms called tools. There are 24 of them, evolving from earlier forms called Hwarang. And it firmly focused on a comprehensive traditional martial art approach: self-defense, power generation, the integration of mind and body.
Okay, so the ITF is established in '66, but the political situation in Korea kept evolving, right? Especially in the '70s.
Oh yes. The 1970s deepened this growing divide. A critical shift happened in 1971 when Kim Un-young was elected KTA president.
Kim Un-young, a key figure for the other side.
A very key figure for the emerging World Taekwondo side, yes. Also in 1971, South Korean President Park Chung-hee, the same leader who had earlier sidelined Choi, made a huge move. Seeing Taekwondo as this vital national educational tool, a powerful symbol of identity, he personally declared it a national sport, gave it the special designation Guki Taekwondo.
Guki Taekwondo, what does that mean?
Literally, national sport Taekwondo. This wasn't just symbolic, it was strategic. It cemented Taekwondo's status as a core pillar of national identity, a tool for state building. It came with massive government investment, centralized control.
Like funding for facilities.
Exactly, funding for facilities like the Kukiwon, which was built soon after. A unified curriculum to be taught nationwide. An official push for internationalization, but under a single state-sponsored banner. It was a clear statement. This is the official Korean style, backed by the government, designed to foster national pride and project Korean influence globally.
And where was General Choi during all this?
This is the critical moment of irrevocable separation. In 1972, General Choi Hong-Hi left South Korea, reportedly due to ongoing internal disputes, the government's increasing efforts to control the art. Basically, he felt pushed out or saw no future for his vision there.
He left the country.
Yes, he made the monumental decision to relocate the ITF headquarters to Toronto, Canada. Later, it moved again to Vienna in 1985.
Wow, moving the HQ out of Korea entirely.
A huge move, and particularly his subsequent efforts to spread ITF Taekwondo to North Korea. Well, that was viewed as an act of national treason by the South Korean government. It created this unbridgeable political chasm between the two major Taekwondo organizations, a dramatic, impactful decision that forever altered the landscape.
So this political split truly created that major fork in the road. Two distinct global paths, and for a long time, a deep ideological rivalry shaping how the art developed worldwide.
Precisely. And in direct response to Choi's emigration, the ITF's relocation, the South Korean government and the KTA moved quickly. The World Taekwondo Federation, WTF, now known simply as World Taekwondo, WT, was founded on May 28, 1973, in Seoul.
With Kim Un-young as president?
With Kim Un-young as president, yes. The KTA, the new WT, and the newly established Kukiwon, they all worked together in concert with strong government backing to unify Korean Taekwondo under the single government-sponsored system.
And their focus was different from the ITF.
Consciously different. This new WT system deliberately moved towards a more sport-oriented Taekwondo. They emphasized specific forms called Pumse, like the foundational Taejuk series, the advanced Udanja forms. And they meticulously developed full-contact sparring rules.
Why the focus on sport?
The rules were carefully crafted for broader international appeal, greater perceived safety, and most crucially, with a deliberate long-term strategy aimed squarely at achieving Olympic recognition.
Ah, the Olympic dream. That was the goal from the start for WT.
It seems very much so.
And besides ITF and WT, were there other significant offshoots?
Yes, the dynamic growth led to other styles splintering off, especially as Taekwondo spread internationally. Two notable examples, particularly in the U.S., the Johoon Rhee-styled Taekwondo, founded in 1957 by Johoon Rhee, who was an influential early pioneer, an offshoot of Cheongdo Kwon. His style, headquartered in the U.S., focused heavily on safety and sparring.
Johoon Rhee, yeah, often called the father of American Taekwondo.
That's right. And similarly, the American Taekwondo Association, ATA, or Songgam Taekwondo, founded in 1969 by Hang Eung Lee, also headquartered in the U.S. These examples clearly show how quickly Taekwondo became a global phenomenon, with various interpretations taking root far from Korea, each adding to its rich, varied practice.
So it's incredible. What started as just a handful of passionate schools in post-liberation Korea trying to revive, redefine a national art, it just exploded, became this global phenomenon with many branches, each with its own interpretation, its own philosophy, its own vision, a real testament to its growth, its adaptability, and the sheer force of personality of its founding figures.
Absolutely. A complex, dynamic history.
Taekwondo at a global sport and beyond, 1970s present.
So with the World Taekwondo Federation, now WT, established, its mission was pretty clear from the outset. Foster global growth, promote those core values, respect, self-discipline, fair play, and provide this high-profile platform for athletes to compete. That deliberate, sport-oriented focus, it was calculated and ultimately very successful for getting international recognition.
It truly is a remarkable transformation when you think about it. From military training, a collection of schools arguing over names, to an internationally recognized Olympic sport. How did they actually make that monumental leap? What were the key steps, the strategies?
It was a concerted, visionary journey, primarily driven by WT under Kim Un-young's leadership for much of that crucial period. The first really significant step came in 1980. The WTF, as it was then, received crucial recognition from the International Olympic Committee, the IOC.
Okay, getting the IOC's attention, that's huge.
Huge. That opened the door. It allowed Taekwondo to be showcased on the world's biggest sporting stage. It became a demonstration sport at two pivotal Olympic Games. First, the 1988 Seoul Olympics.
Right, in its home country. Very symbolic.
Hugely symbolic. And then again at the 1992 Barcelona Olympics. These appearances were critical. They let Taekwondo show off its dynamic nature, those spectacular kicks, its athletic appeal to this massive global audience.
So building momentum.
Exactly. Building momentum, gaining exposure. The culmination of all these efforts came when Taekwondo was officially accepted as a full medal event at the 2000 Sydney Olympics.
To Sydney 2000, that was the big breakthrough.
Monumental achievement. Signaled its acceptance into that elite echelon of global sports. And beyond the Olympics, its reach kept growing. Accepted as a Commonwealth Games sport in 2010. Received further validation as a Paralympic discipline in 2015.
Oh, Paralympic too.
Yes, with the first Paralympic events held in Tokyo in 2021. This whole trajectory just demonstrates its incredible success in globalizing, adapting to the modern sporting landscape while still trying to hold on to its cultural roots.
It's been central to that WT expansion and standardization. That's the kooky one, right?
Absolutely central, especially for the WT style, the kooky one. Located prominently in Seoul, South Korea. Established in 1972, it serves as the official World Taekwondo headquarters.
What does it actually do?
It's far more than just a building. It's the central authority, responsible for standardizing Taekwondo techniques, developing the official forms, the Poomsae, issuing those internationally recognized black belt, Dan, and instructor certifications.
So if you get a Kukkiwon Dan certificate, that's the global standard for WT.
That's the goal, yes. The internationally recognized standard within the WT system. It also organizes key international events, competitions, often in collaboration with World Taekwondo. And its curriculum, while broad, is meticulously focused on that Shihapkyurugi style of sparring, the Olympic-style sparring, which proves so successful in gaining that Olympic acceptance.
That's fascinating. So the Kukkiwon isn't just some office building. It really functions as the central unifier, the global standard bearer for this massive international community, ensuring consistency, quality, across millions of practitioners. That's a monumental task.
It is indeed. It defines that government-sponsored unified style of Taekwondo that became the Olympic standard.
Yeah.
And, for anyone looking to get into Taekwondo or just understand it better, it's really essential to grasp that there are stylistic differences between the ITF and WT. They represent the two dominant global approaches, each with its own rich history, its own distinct practices.
Okay, let's break down those differences for the listener. What are the key distinctions?
All right, let's start with something simple. Name spelling. It subtly indicates their separate identities. ITF uses the hyphenated Taekwondo.
Right, Taekwondo.
General Choi intended that hyphenation to break down the syllables, emphasize the individual parts, foot, fist, way, as distinct but interconnected elements of a whole holistic art.
Okay, and WT?
WT uses the single word, Taekwondo, reflecting perhaps a more unified, singular concept for the art as a sport.
Got it. What about forms?
Big difference here. Forms. ITF utilizes tolls. There are 24 tolls, each linked to Korean history or important figures. And critically, they're characterized by a unique sine wave motion in their execution.
Sine wave motion? What exactly is that?
Okay, for those unfamiliar, it's not just stylistic flair. It's a fundamental principle of power generation in ITF. Imagine your body moving up and down in this rhythmic, wave-like fashion, like a sine wave on a graph as you execute technique.
Up and down?
Yes, to generate downward and upward force, adding momentum and mass to each strike and block. This distinct vertical movement allows practitioners to generate incredible kinetic energy, often influencing their sparring style, which tends to involve more continuous movement and powerful hand techniques alongside kicks.
Interesting. And WT forms?
The WT uses Pumse. These include the 8 foundational T-Jack forms and 9 advanced Udanja black belt forms. Yeah. And crucially, these do not incorporate the sine wave motion.
No sine wave in WT Pumse?
No. They typically emphasize a more linear, direct application of force, often utilizing gravity and sharp hip rotation differently to achieve explosive power, which is maybe more suited to the bursts needed in their full contact sport application.
Okay, forms are different. What about sparring? Competition rules?
Also quite divergent. Competition. In WT competitions, you see full contact sparring, often with extensive protective gear, hogu, chest protector, headgear, shin guards, forearm guards.
Lots of padding.
Lots of padding, yeah. The scoring system heavily favors kicks. Kicks to the body, and kicks to the head. Punches are allowed, but only to the torso, and they score less, often requiring significant impact to register.
So very kick-focused.
Very kick-focused. This focus is partly for athlete safety and full contact, but also, frankly, a deliberate design for spectator appeal and clear, objective scoring in an Olympic sports setting. Makes it easier to judge.
And ITF competition?
ITF competition, on the other hand, is generally light to medium contact. They use protection, head, hands, feet. But crucially, ITF sparring allows real fist techniques to the head.
Punches to the head. Unlike WT.
Unlike WT, yes. And certain spinning kicks might be executed differently or scored differently. It reflects its more traditional martial art emphasis on perhaps more practical self-defense applications alongside the sport aspect.
And then you mentioned traditional schools.
Right. Beyond ITF and WT, you have some traditional schools, often independent lineages or smaller organizations. They might practice no contact sparring or very light contact, often without protection. Their primary focus might be on the correct aesthetic execution of techniques, deep philosophical development, mastery of forms, breaking, rather than scoring points in a match.
So a whole spectrum of approaches to sparring.
Whole spectrum, exactly.
And fundamentally, the overall philosophy differs too.
Yeah, I think you could summarize it like this. Philosophy. IPF is generally seen as striving to preserve a more traditional, comprehensive martial art, aiming for holistic development, self-defense, breaking techniques, moral culture, alongside sparring. WT, with its undeniable Olympic focus, is geared more towards Taekwondo as a sport. Its rules, its training methods are adapted for competitive success, athleticism, and achieving that broad, accessible, global appeal necessary for the Olympics.
So, while both are teaching Taekwondo,
their day-to-day training, their ultimate goals, their feel, it can be quite distinct.
That makes sense. So, for you, the listener, the learner, the enthusiast, you can really see there's a Taekwondo for almost every path. Whether you're drawn more to tradition or the thrill of competitive sport, or maybe a blend of both, it offers this rich spectrum of experiences, shows its incredible adaptability, its enduring appeal.
Absolutely. And it's important to remember, beyond the sport, beyond the competition, Taekwondo in all its forms really deeply promotes a personal philosophy, values that extend far beyond the dojan, the training hall.
Like what?
It instills profound discipline, fosters deep respect for others, encourages unwavering development of mental strength. General Choi Hong-Hi, the ITF founder, he meticulously articulated a comprehensive theory of power.
Theory of power, what did that involve?
It was based on 6 key physical principles he believed maximized impact. First, concentration.
Yeah.
Focusing all your physical strength, your mental will, onto a single target point at the moment of impact.
Okay.
Second, reaction force. Using the equal and opposite reaction, like pulling back one fist sharply as the other punches out, enhancing the power of the active limb.
Newton's third law, basically.
Pretty much applied in martial arts. Third, balance. Maintaining perfect equilibrium for stability, for fluid transitions between movements. Fourth, breath control. Utilizing controlled exhalation, often a sharp shout or a kai-hap, during impact to tense the muscles, generate explosive power.
It's kai-hap, yeah.
Fifth, speed. Simply the rate at which a technique is executed, directly correlating with kinetic energy, obviously. And finally, sixth, Massachusetts, ensuring the correct body weight, the proper hip rotation, is put behind each strike, not just arm strength.
Concentration, reaction force, balance, breath control, speed, mass. That's quite scientific.
It was a very analytical approach to generating power. And Choi also established the tenets of Taekwondo, which serve as this profound moral compass for practitioners, for life inside and outside the dojang.
What are the tenets?
There are 5. Courtesy, Yeyui, showing politeness, respect for others. Integrity, Yamchi, upholding honesty. Moral principles, Perseverance in Nai, showing unwavering determination to achieve goals, never giving up. Self-control, Gukki, maintaining discipline over one's emotions, one's actions. And indomitable spirit, Bakjul Bulgul, embodying courage, resilience, especially in the face of adversity.
Courtesy, integrity, perseverance, self-control, indomitable spirit.
Those 5. And they aren't just suggestions, they're core philosophical principles designed to cultivate not just a skilled martial artist, but a well-rounded ethical human being.
It's clear then. Taekwondo, whichever branch you look at, it's not just about the physical moves, not just about winning medals. It's about a holistic way of life, a philosophy, a rigorous moral code, something you can truly apply well beyond the training hall, something that can enhance your character, your daily interactions in really profound ways.
Well said. That's the ideal, certainly. Outro.
And what an incredible journey we've been on today. Wow. Delving into the fascinating, often dramatic history of Taekwondo.
It covers a lot of ground, doesn't it?
It really does. We started way back with those ancient Korean roots, traced its profound evolution through that challenging period of Japanese occupation, the undeniable influence of karate. We navigated the emergence of those foundational Kwans, their unique contributions, followed the pivotal, sometimes controversial leadership of figures like General Choi Hong-Hi.
The politics, the splits.
Exactly. We saw the intense political struggles, the eventual splintering into distinct global federations like ITF and WT, and then its remarkable rise to modern status as this global phenomenon, an Olympic sport.
Right.
It's truly a complex, rich history, full of passion, innovation, and just unwavering spirit.
It really is.
So thank you for listening. We really hope you enjoyed today's topic. For more exciting Taekwondo content, definitely subscribe to our channel. It's worth it. Your TKD Coach Sesnya podcast team.
And, if we just connect this to the bigger picture for a final thought, Taekwondo's history, it's this compelling narrative of constant adaptation, isn't it? This delicate dynamic balance between trying to preserve deep-rooted traditions and boldly evolving to meet new challenges, new opportunities like becoming an Olympic sport.
That tension is always there.
It is. This intricate interplay between national identity, martial art purity, global athletic aspiration. It's shaped its past. So what might the next chapter hold? For an art so deeply tied to both national pride and its universal appeal, its future will undoubtedly continue to reflect this fascinating, ongoing evolution. Something to think about.
Definitely something to think about. And just so you know, this deep dive was produced exclusively for the TKD Coach Says YouTube channel.